Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label,
Really?
oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody
wouldn't it?
listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
Yo, boys, I think I'm running into some internet problems here, so let me just try to fix it real quick. Give me a second. Why would I be on Ethernet 4? This should be a wireless setup. That's what this should be. Hold on. Yeah, that's exactly what it should be. Okay. Might be better now. At least we think. Good. You just make sure this is good before we continue, because suddenly I think my internet or my PC decided to connect to my phone, which it shouldn't be doing. Give me a sec. There we go. That should work. Okay, cool. We're back. Yeah, sometimes my PC connects to my phone's mobile hotspot. It's sort of a wacky thing that happens. But brothers, welcome to the live stream. Happy Saturday. Hope you guys are great. Hope you're great. Hope you had a great week so far, and your weekend is going well. Let's take it back. Let's take it all the way back. Brothers. All right, so look, to clear up some confusion, I got a lot of comments on the estrogen video. I wanted to bring to light that we've got a bunch of estrogen receptors in the junk here, and that it's a little more important than people think. And listen, there are a class of people that need a little higher estrogen, either with TRT, like they just need higher doses of test, or they need to sort of fashion their ester, like use long esters to get more estrogen. And then there's also that class of people that need to take 0.125 milligrams of Arimidex every other day. You know, I got a bunch of those. So what people need to refrain from doing is thinking I'm making blanket statements about stuff. I'm simply bringing the literature to people's attention, right? So that you can determine who you are. Are you somebody that needs more estradiol? You know, can you find the right ester that gets you the right estradiol, or the right HCG dose that gets you the right level of estradiol? Because for sure, we all know that if test is too high and DHT are too high and estrogen's too low, then the sexual system's really kind of meh. You know, you do need estradiol in certain concentrations for DHT and for testosterone to do their thing. You know, they can't really execute what they need to do, especially relative to libido and erections and stuff, without adequate estradiol. But everybody has to find where they are on that spectrum. Okay, that was really, you know, that's a point that I want to make now. Everybody's got to understand that, you know, you're either one of those people that needs to be between 20 and 30 of estradiol, and then everything's really rocking, or you're one of those people based on your testosterone that you're, you know, estrogen needs to be like 45 or 50. In rare cases, you might need to inject a little bit of estradiol, like I'm talking about 0.5 milligrams. I've seen that to be the case too. It's a rarity, but you know, that is possible for people. But these situations are so variable, and the only way that one could explain like why someone might need more estrogen is they under aromatize, and those things are probably determined by genetic polymorphisms in the aromatase enzyme. That's what the literature suggests. Okay, so just something for folks to consider. You got under aromatizers. You've got aromatizers that aromatize sort of perfectly commensurate with their testosterone. And they are the guys that when they inject 200 milligrams of test, they're just like, dude, I'm horny all the time and everything works. It's their body's response in terms of metabolite production to the testosterone. You know, their body is acting right, but not everybody's body acts right. In fact, you could say two posters fell. You could say that people who aren't dialed in on TRT, it's just a matter of their body not responding properly to testosterone, you know, not aromatizing as much or aromatizing fucking too much. It just has to do with your response. Let me hang this stuff back up. I think my chair is a little bit too close to all this. That's what's happening here. All right. So just something for folks to keep in mind. You know, you got to find where you are. Me, I'm kind of in the middle. You know, I don't aromatize a ton, but I still aromatize, right? So for me, on TRT doses, sticking in the 25 to 35 range is just the best for my erection function and libido. But higher doses of testosterone, as an example, running cycles, I need to be 45, 50, and then everything's good. Can't be at 23. Which is crazy because at 130 a week, I can be at 23 and that's where I need to be, you know, but at 500 a week, I need to be at like 55. So just something for folks to keep in mind. You can't try to fashion blanket statements out of what people are saying, and you need to understand what applies to you. It's really fucking important, boys. Trying to think of what else is relevant here. Nothing else. What's up, boys? Hope you're good. I think our technical difficulty should be over. Madcap, how are you? How are you, bros? Do I think ginkgo is effective? All right, let's start from the top. Sildenafil. I think you mean Viagra, and it's spelled Sildenafil, I believe. So, no, I don't think that exclusively Viagra is going to help PFS recovery. That's too simple of a question. And listen, man, you've been asking questions, and I've been trying to infuse into your brain, specifically you, Madcap, that you need to think about it a lot more nuanced than this, man. You can't just the mistake that a lot of the PFS PSSD people have made is just to think that one size fits all, or that, you know, one singular compound is going to fix their problem. How could it? How could it? When you have a wide variety of derangements happening, and you're in need really of androgens and estrogen, like, you know, and testicular function and neurosteroids, you're in need of those things. So, you know, singular compounds would just never do it. Yeah. Is Viagra useful? Well, in the context of facilitating nocturnal erections so that you can prevent fibrosis or attempt to reverse it, yeah, sure. But in and of itself, is it going to like fix someone's, protocol? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, it's much more complex than that. Now, sildenafil, or probably better yet, 10 milligrams tadalafil at night before you go to bed, is great in these cases in conjunction with the right, you know, protocol of androgens, you know, and in some of these hardcore cases, some estradiol as well, as we talked about recently. Yeah. But I mean, PD5 inhibitors in and of themselves are not going to fix serious sexual dysfunction. If anything, they're just going to get you know, some erectile quality that may lack sensation and isn't going to be particularly fun. And these people usually have to dose like 20, like the full as a needed dose or more, 25 milligrams. You know, there's hacks for that. If people need to get a better response from tadalafil, you could take like 300 or 400 milligrams of naringin. So then you're going to prevent the metabolism of the drug, and it's going to stick around a lot longer. But be wary that it might lower your blood pressure a little too much. So that's just something to think about. Do I think ginkgo is effective? For what? For what? Helping you make better pancakes in the morning? Not sure what you mean. Be more specific. Dixie, looks like them cycle gains are here to stay. I think so, bro. I'm only running 3 pumps of cream. Every now and then I'll put an extra pump on because I just want a little more energy that day, or there's something going on later in the day, but I'm sticking around 3 pumps of cream. I peak at about 1100, and then I'm back down to 650 or so by the next application in the morning. So I never really go below 650. I get with testosterone cream 200 milligrams per milliliters, I get a big peak in the morning. And that peak, because it's got ensuing effects on neurotransmitters, energy production, and kind of wellness overall, like lasts. Honestly, I feel good until 7, 8 p.m., at which point like I start getting tired like a normal person would. And then I'm like, oh, cool. But I still feel functional at 7, 8 p.m. all the way up until 10 p.m. You know, at 10 p.m., 10:30 when I'm about to go to sleep, usually leading up to sleeping, I'm still on my laptop doing research on scientific stuff. So yeah, the gains certainly are with just 3 pumps of cream at this point. I haven't lost strength. I haven't lost any strength. I feel fucking great. And, you know, physique wise, it's pretty much the same, you know, depending on my body fat. So it's a testament, boys. It's a testament to going on a cycle. I was only 4 months, just shy of 4 months, 500 milligrams testosterone and theta a week for most of it. And then really putting the fucking work in. The thing about a cycle is like, yeah, you have to eat to gain muscle to an extent. So I was a little overeating, not like a lot, but like you have to push at the gym. You have to make use of the fact that you're on excessively superphysiologic levels of androgens and realize you're doing that for an anabolic benefits, or at least that's one benefit you can get out of it. And really push at the gym, you know, really, really push, lift heavy. If you're going to lift light, push a fucking ton of reps. And then, yeah, a lot of it will stick around. You know, you'll read in the forums that when people go on cycles, you know, their gains stick around. They definitely stick around. So just something to think about. Dream big is 50 milligrams Picamillin okay to take for a little better sleep without consequences? I think so. I think that is a pretty modest dose. It's actually a low dose of Picamillin. Yeah, and I don't think that would cause some sort of GABA receptor desensitization. That's really hard to do. Neurotransmitter receptors are really hard to desensitize. Really, really hard. Yeah. So I think that stuff is magical. You know, I've suggested it to over 100 people, probably 200-300 people in my nootropics days over the years in a coaching capacity. And most of them have done well with it. So yeah, I have the stuff. I haven't used it in a while. I'm just in a point in my life right now where sleep is really good and kind of on a routine where, you know, between 9 and 11, I'm just fading out and ready to go to sleep and sleep till about 5, 6 in the morning. Thoughts on yohimbine? I'll tell you what, if you want to get the craziest stimulation you probably ever had in your life, then just take yohimbine. Yeah, it is fucking powerful. Yeah. And it can make you uncomfortably overstimmed, right? Because of the noradrenergic and noradrenaline like properties to it. Pretty good for burning fat, mobilizing fatty acids to be used to metabolize and burn, especially in your lower stomach. And it's got some pro-erectile properties to it. So I can't get away with taking any more than like 1.5 milligrams or 2 milligrams because my energy is already pretty good. So taking something like that and I'm like, I just feel uncomfortably stimulated. It's not good. Yeah. Shifty's been watching the video try to fix TRT protocol. Good, but and thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're watching, but just the thing that you should extract from my content is like, you know, of the folks that need more HCG, of the folks that they can't tolerate HCG and that's better because estrogen goes a little lower and then they're fine and their dick works again, of the folks that under aromatize, of the folks that over aromatize, of the folks that need DHT derivatives, of the folks that need some topical DHT gel in addition to TRT HCG, of the folks that need an AI, of the folks that don't need an AI. You need to determine which one you are of those various options. I think that's the biggest thing that people need to recognize about TRT advice. Which one are you? You know, are you aromatizing too much, and is that your problem? Have you tested that, right? Because if you think you are, and you know you inject, and then things are good for 2-3 hours, and then suddenly your erections start faltering, and your libido kind of goes away, and you think that's it must have been estrogen went over range. Did you test it? You test that by taking a low dose of an AI. Do things get better? And for some individuals, they do right away. Their dick comes right back after the use of an AI. But, you know, in some of those cases, if you inject some HCG and you increase intratesticular aromatization, Leydig cell stimulation of fucking estrogen, basically directly, independent of testosterone synthesis, that's its own mechanism. And then you get better. You actually needed more estrogen. I ran into that on I largely run into that on high doses of transcranial cream. Yeah. High doses of transcranial cream. I need more estrogen. I just don't make enough on that. I can get away with 3 pumps. That's great. But, 4, 5, 6 pumps transcranial cream, well, then, the estrogen isn't high enough for the DHT and the testosterone. I got to balance that out. So just remember to try to figure out, of the advice that I've given and of the cases I've tried to present on this channel, which one are you? Which one are you? Once you figure out where you are on TRT, you over aromatize, you under aromatize. You need an AI, you don't need an AI. HCG does you better or it doesn't. Like, once you figure these things out, that's it. You're dialed in. You're dialed in. Then it becomes like, all right, what's next? Maybe I'll try some peptides. When you dial in, you just, if you're a biohacker and you want to try shit, you probably just, try a bunch of other shit, like TB 500 or something. Really cool stuff. Shifty's also doing once a week with Cypionate. What would be a good day for libido to peak on the weekend? What would be a good day for libido? I'm not sure what you're asking there, brother. You got to rephrase that. Rackpole, you've done a lot of content on how infrequent injections of long esters can be beneficial for some. Can you speak a bit as to who or when frequent injections of long esters might work better? Sure, frequent injections for long esters work better for people that make a lot of hematocrit in response to TRT. Yeah, in response to bigger doses, like at once, bolus doses. Yep. Yeah, that would be number one. Secondarily, for folks that when estrogen itself, like on infrequent injection, will peak to 70, folks that right away get like nipple sensitivity to the point where it ends up like hurting, like their nipples like fucking hurt when their shirt is rubbing against their chest, it starts to hurt. For those individuals, daily injections or every other day injections are going to prevent massive peaks in estradiol that their body isn't used to yet. And if they can dial in that way, meaning it's enough androgens and then the test DHT estrogen ratio falls in a good place, well, then they can stay at fucking every other day injections. I was never really one of those people. I could do it at high doses, interestingly, but not at TRT doses. It's just not really good for me. I'd add other things, lots of HCG in order to make that work. And that's essentially all, there's other reasons why people do better on, frequent injections of long esters. And then there's, reasons where people just need to be injecting once a week or so. Another reason would be like, there are individuals who metabolize testosterone very quickly. Yeah. And in those individuals injecting once a week, they're going to feel like shit, even if it's 200 milligrams on like day 3.5, dude. I have people like that. 200 milligrams, dude, at once. And by day 3.5, they're like dragging, and they feel weak and they don't want to go to the gym and they want to lay down all day. It's not androgen-induced lethargy, man. It's fucking your androgens leaving your body too quickly. Unfortunately, the mechanics of long esters don't behave in people the way that they do in the pharmacokinetic studies, Like, your body isn't going to adhere to those studies. It's not going to go, well, the paper says I'm supposed to keep this for 6-7 days at this basically similar concentrations here. It's just not going to happen for everybody. Shifty is aromatizing too much. Coach had me on sip every day. Yeah, well, that'll certainly do it, or at least keep a lot of steady state estradiol. And if you need a break at the tissues of estrogen, then you're never going to dial in there. It just, again, as I said, a lot of this has to do with how you metabolize testosterone, like, again, if you're not dialed in on TRT, whatever ester you're using, you're not metabolizing it correctly. You're not metabolizing it in an optimal way, where test DHT and estradiol can be in a good ratio for you. You might need lower estrogen. You're making too goddamn much, or you might need more estrogen. You're not making enough. Because you're lean and you don't drink and you eat well and you fucking eat broccoli every other day and all that kind of shit. I mean, there's people that just naturally do things. They're not even trying. They just naturally do things to under aromatize. And those people need to take more HCG. And in rare cases, actual estradiol. If C-reactive protein is high, it's really just associated with cardiac problems. That's one of the things that if it's continually high. Look, the literature on like heart disease is much more now these days, thankfully, skewed toward being triggered by inflammation, inflammatory responses, which is like intestinal-borne cytokines that are traveling throughout your body to fix problems, but they're also causing, injury and like abrasiveness at the fucking tissue level. That's inflammation. And C-reactive protein being high is like one of the markers these days. There's many other markers, but one of the markers for eventually that's not going to be good for your heart. Yeah. Mr. M is in. Brother. DNAV, good morning, bro. How would someone go about transferring back to a long ester from everyday injection test prop? Quite honestly, I think there's two ways to do this. The first would be that prop's going to be out of your system in 2 days for the most part. So then right away, just start injecting, testosterone, anything. Now, if you're doing frequent injections with a long ester, because that just suits you for some reason, then you're probably going to feel subpar for 2 to 3 weeks, a week minimally, because now your levels have to build up. If you plot that out on steroid plotter, like if your dose is a modest 20 milligrams a day, I mean, you're going to be sitting between 300 and 600 for a while until those levels can build up in your body. They'll build up relatively quickly because you're injecting daily, but those small amounts are going to take some time to build up. So in that case, you could either do that and deal with it, and then wait ultimately 5 weeks until your bloods are pretty stable till you end up at 1250, and that's where you basically stay, and estrogen's at like 40 or something, wherever it ends up. Or you could front load the enanthate. That's what I would do. If I was switching from cream or prop back to a long ester, I would front load 150 every other day. I would do that for 4 iterations, and then I'd be around 1400. And then at that point, I would just begin injecting, daily or every other day if I was doing that. Yeah. Front loading is probably better because you get to your end point quicker of having all the testosterone that you need. So that's fucking important. That's really important so that you don't feel like shit. If people are productive people, especially business people, then yeah, you're going to need to front load so that you don't lose productivity in that time where your testosterone is building up in your blood, which takes 5 weeks. I would 100% front load. That's just me though. Ramiel with the $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Good morning, Ryan. What do you think of ephedrine? I don't know a whole lot about it. I know it's a stimulant, caffeine, aspirin, ECA stacks for weight management. Not an expert on that. Yeah, that's not my expertise. Couldn't really help you there. Now, I think the best way to facilitate weight management is test estradiol being in reasonable ratios for you, but predominantly having high testosterone is a great way to fucking have a higher metabolic rate. In addition to fully functioning thyroid hormones, not just like normal or subclinical, but they're normal, but you're fucking cold all the time. Thyroid hormones play a major role in how you burn fats, but also understanding where your calorie, max is, and if you don't track it with an application like MyFitnessPal or something, you kind of have to know how it feels when you've eaten too much. You have to know how it feels when you've eaten too much for the day. Like I know, right? I don't even have to track calories anymore. If I eat, eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, in dinners, I go out and it's a big burger and it's a cheat meal or whatever it ends up being. Like I know right away that I've eaten too much for the day. I know I'm in a surplus. And if that happens for 2 or 3 days, I will start looking a little chubbier, and I'll know that I got to be in a deficit for 2 or 3 days to get back to that baseline, at which I can just stay neutral at maintenance calories and then go over 100 or 200 calories a couple times and then go under 100 or 200 calories, something like that. That's really the best way to manage weight. Get to the point where you know how much food that you intake that takes you over your calorie limit or keeps you under or keeps you at maintenance. Let's on boron while on TRT. I think it's largely inconsequential. I guess for some people it's going to lower the SHBG, and so you get a little more free hormones. I think we have agents that are much better at doing that, like Mysterolone. So I would choose Mysterolone over boron, unless you're worried about hair loss. Maybe boron would be useful for you there. There's some literature suggesting it lowers estrogen, but there's also literature suggesting it raises it. So, it's one of those things, kind of like zinc in its aromatase inhibitor properties, and as well as its 5-alpha reductase inhibitor properties. It's like the fucking papers on this are not very clear, and it's extremely annoying. So you have to guess. You got to read as much of the literature, read as much about zinc or boron, just separately, aside from Googling terms similar to whether or not it's an aromatase inhibitor. Try to understand what it does, and then you make your own assessment from there. What are things aside from TRT therapy to recover PFS? Human chorionic gonadotropin, AIs potentially, DHT derivatives, DHT itself, DHT gel, Misterolone, or exogenous estradiol in some cases. No, those are the things, as well as like a PD5 inhibitor and vacuum erection devices like pumping. Those are effectively the protocols. You know, if someone says to you regarding PFS that like this here is the protocol, like I don't know, test an EQ or EQ, they don't know what they're talking about. That's not right. You know, people are going to be different. And I think the predominant thing is how high in androgens does a person need to be to recover from venous leakage if that's present? And are they one of those people that, needs to have lower estrogen on top of that higher androgen load? Or do they need to have higher estrogen on top of that higher androgen load? And then nuanced stuff like with the ancillaries. Do they need testicles to be really functional, or does it really not matter all that much? You know, it matters to some people, and it doesn't matter in terms of how it affects their erections and sensation for others. Why that is the case? No idea. No idea why there's such variability. Again, relative to aromatase and under aromatizing versus not, it has to do with aromatase polymorphisms. Definitely. Dar Fitness, good morning, brother. With summer approaching, can't wait, bro. Just curious about shredding protocols. Have they changed since being on TRT versus not? Thanks for all you do. I just want to like stay lean year round. I got a little body fat on me for sure at the moment. Probably because it's winter and because I'm not running as much because it's winter. You know, I run on the treadmill, but it's such a painstaking exercise on the treadmill. It sucks. It's not fun. I'd rather run outside. So like every day that it's like sunny, it's still cold. It's been cold here in Pittsburgh forever. Most days when it's sunny, I will run. So, I'm able to stay in that sort of shape. But the moment it's above 55 every day, I'll be running every day or every other day. Yeah. And then I will just naturally get shredded. I'll probably eat right around the same, and I'll just naturally get a lot more shredded. If I wanted to up my game on shreddedness, I would just go on Proviron. Yep, Proviron, monitoring calories, doing cardio, and then, you'll fucking seriously shred out. Seriously shred out, dude. I have just insane pictures of me on Proviron. That's blood pressure. I don't know if I actually have those images here. No, that's an old fucking image. Yeah, I probably won't be able to find that image, man. Yeah, actually, there it is. No, that's not one. This is it. Like, look how fucking shredded I was there, dude. That was me running Misterolone. Look at that. That's fucking crazy, dude. Like the striations in my chest, like that's my entire chest muscle. There's no fat. There's just no fat there. No, I had a little bit of belly fat, but you could see my abs large. Look at my shoulders. That was, I pretty sure that was 280 a test P a week with 25 Proviron a day, and some HEG. Fucking shredded. So that's what I would do if I wanted to get ultra shredded. I would run, probably test P, and I would fucking run 25 milligrams Proviron a day. That shit does it for you, man. Any thoughts on a deep dive on pregnenolone? I don't think personally that pregnenolone is particularly consequential in the context of anything, whether TRT, PFS, all this stuff. So, I'm not really going to do a deep dive on it. I honestly don't think it's that consequential. I've never, ever seen it like added in lower high doses do something substantial. I think it's necessary to have. You need some pregnenolone, but it's just not the heavy hitter, man. Big Zach says, if I eat even a few hundred calories over, I can tell as soon as I enter a surplus. Absolutely. You got to be able to tell. Like I can tell in my digestion. It gets slower. It's worse. I might have some reflux at night when I'm trying to go to sleep. But I know actually in the fucking acute situation while I'm eating the meal, I just know it. If I want to go over, I will. If I have a big bacon cheeseburger in front of me and some fries, I'll eat the whole cheeseburger and all the fries. But if I don't want to go over, I'll eat half of it and a quarter of the fries. And then I'm still good. I'm still good. But I do know when I'm going over, and you've got to know, like Big Zach over here knows when you're going over. Just one of those things to pay attention to. Boron nuked Ramiel's SHPG. So yeah, it has the ability to do that. Apparently, I think that's the one thing that is definitive about boron. Like its estrogen modification properties are not definitive. The literature is so fucking wishy-washy about it. But regarding SHBG, it does lower it. Crypto Magic. Hey, bro. Hope you're well. Don't seem to be dealing with anathate due to aromatizing a lot. About to start cream. Is it likely I could tolerate a long ester sometime down the road? Perhaps, but you need to find out whether you are aromatizing too much or you're under aromatizing, or if the testosterone anathate is shutting you down too much and you need more HCG to have better functioning testicles, and that fixes your problem. I don't know what your symptoms are, but if they're boner and libido related, then it's estrogen definitely. But it could be too high or too low. You don't know. I mean, if you're really lean and you eat a lot of vegetables or eat vegetables a couple times a week and you don't drink a lot, it's probably under aromatization, quite honestly. In which case, more HCG or actual exogenous estradiol would help you. Potentially some hops would help you in that case, just to make a little more estrogen. But if you're over aromatizing, then ultra low dose primo, I'm talking about 5 milligrams every other day, 10 milligrams every other day. You got to find the dose that works. Same thing with Masteron, and then, ultra low doses of Aromasin, 3.25 to 6.5 milligrams, something to that effect, or 3.125 to 6.25. Yeah, that's where you would figure out. But starting cream is probably going to do you well. You'll have to dial that in as well. Everything needs to be dialed in. Again, you got to figure out, do you over aromatize? Do you under aromatize? You're one of the guys that it does much better on DHT derivatives, or do they fuck with you and make your libido worse? That means, your estrogen needs to be higher. If you need to tell, by the way, if you over aromatize or under, just take an ultra low dose of Masteron, Primobolan, or an AI. And if your dick gets worse, you need more estrogen. It's real simple, right? Think of it that way. If you need to figure out, do you over aromatize or under aromatize, and this is the basis for your sexual issues on TRT, take an AI at a low dose, or take Primobolan 10 to 30 milligrams, Masteron 10 to 30 milligrams. And if your dick gets worse, you need more estrogen. That's just the bottom line. If you're already in a bad state and then you take that and your dick gets worse, clearly you need more estrogen. So more HCG is usually going to solve that problem. Or exogenous estradiol. I got over the years, I've probably had like 12 or 13 people that I've had to actually put on that. Most of them are sexual dysfunction people. So something to consider. Jordan G Unit with the big $20 super chat. Thanks, bro. I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Like, you're always here, giving super chats and kind of giving back to us here. I think that's really fucking cool. We'll answer questions as free as possible for as long as possible, but I appreciate when people care enough to want to do that. I have a couple favorite Call of Duty streamers that I watch, and every time they're on, I'm super chatting $20, $30, and I might just say fucking good game or whatever. Let's get it dub. Because I'm supporting them, and that's fucking awesome. So thank you, brother. Appreciate that, brother. Your question though: 1 week on test prop, 20 milligrams a day. My nighttime's boner could break bricks. Awesome. Yeah, that's a good. That's kind of where you should start with prop at 20 milligrams a day. I love that. Yeah, I bet you're peaking it. You're peaking in everything right away, and then estrogen's lagging behind a little bit, but then you start troughing. It just works out for you. Think I'm feeling better generally. HCG 250 IU every other day. Okay, it works, but do you think that's a good HCG dose? Also, what would lab timing be? Okay, so a couple questions there. Number one, I think that's a great dose of HCG. Yep, I think that's wonderful. With prop, it doesn't stay around as long, so you get less suppression of the HPTA. So yeah, actually, probably if you measure it, make a little bit of LH and FSH, not just 0.2. You'll make like some amount more than that. So I think that HCG dose is great. Listen, if your erections are good. And then like if you take 5 of tadalafil on top of that and it makes them strong as fuck to the point where after you come, you're still kind of hard. That happens to me if I take that stuff. Then you're in a good place. You're in a really good place, and you should stay there. Relative to timing. So if you have to nerd out on this, and if you do want to nerd out, you got to find exactly when you peak. with prop. Some people peak at hour 5, and that's the most that their testosterone is going to go up to. But some people are going to peak at like hour 14 or 15. It depends on how you're metabolizing test prop and how the mechanics of the depot are functioning. You know, if you're injecting it intramuscularly, well, yeah, it's going to uptake faster because you have blood vessels. If you're injecting into the subcutaneous tissue, it's an extravascular set of tissue, so you have no blood vessels there. So it's going to uptake a lot slower. So, 3-4 hours post, run total testosterone. 7 hours post, run total testosterone. If you can manage doing 14, 15 hours post, run total testosterone. If you run it sometime in the middle of the day and then 18 hours later is the next morning at 6:30 or 7 a.m., well, then go to Quest and run total testosterone. Then, you can see where it is either at its close to peak or when it starts troughing. So you got to, the answer is multiple times a day if you really want to nerd out about it, man. Yeah. I peak on that stuff about 5 p.m. from a 6 a.m. injection, but I continue, from 6 a.m., I'm just peaking, and then it kind of feels as if it's staying pretty peaked, and then it drops for prop with me like 7 p.m. or so. I start to notice that. If the dose is high, like 50 milligrams plus, I don't feel a trough at all. I'll feel it by the next morning, but feel fucking great all day. That's how quickly it leaves my system. I need 50 milligrams a day of prop. That's 350 milligrams test a week, bro. So that's what you should be looking at, right around there. But dude, important thing, that I could get across to you is if you feel great on this and your erections work and libido is good, don't change a thing. Don't change a thing. Congratulations, bro. If that's the case, congratulations, you're dialed in, because not a lot of people can dial in like the moment they switch to something. Sometimes it takes a little fucking around. I have used progesterone. I don't suggest it for men on TRT. It's going to inhibit 5-alpha reductase and fuck with your dick, almost definitely. It also can be antagonistic to estradiol, I believe. And so if you're an under aromatizer, it's going to make your dick worse. It's almost like taking an AI. But if you're an over aromatizer, it could be useful, but still it might lower DHT, and you probably don't want that. Good dose of modafinil for social event be like 75 milligrams, right in the middle of your suggested dose here, bro. Yeah, that's what I'd say. You have to also find out like what, dose you respond to best and, which dose is going to give you profound effects with no side effects. I'm at 75 for that. I can take 100, but then sleep is a little harder. It's a little harder for me to go to sleep. I can stay asleep, but it's harder to go to sleep on 100 or more. Yeah. Whereas 50, it's pretty good, but 75 is just great for me personally. So you got to find out where you are. Farmer Rick, thank you, bro, for the super chat. Morning, Ryan. My third week of test E, 125 LM. All right. Please specify what that is. Every 5 days. I think that's milligrams because that's about a good dose. That's a great dose every 5 days. Feel like a champ again. Was on 2 hits a week for the last 2 years. Thank you. Awesome. Brother. Yeah. The anabolic doc on YouTube, Thomas O'Connor, he is a proponent of the every 5th day dosing strategy for brothers on the test, for the brothers in test. And he thinks, that's what like most people should do. Just find the dose that works every 5th day, whether that's 100, 120, 140, 200 or 250. I mean, whatever works for you. Find that. And that's like a good frequency. I agree with him. I think every 5th day is a really great protocol, because you're not fucking injecting every day. You don't have to worry about it. You inject, you fucking live your life. You don't have to be thinking about TRT all the time. Like I'm on cream now, so I think about TRT every morning, but it's not really an inconvenience. But if you're doing every 5th day, it's less of an inconvenience. Pretty awesome. Glad you're feeling good though, man. Also switch to deep from shallow doubt. Yeah, this is another thing. You're going to find people that have not just a lack of efficacy in response to testosterone, but also funky fucking side effects from doing shallow intramuscular or sub-Q. And then when they start injecting the long ester, especially as it was intended, which is intramuscular, all those side effects go away and they feel great right away. You'll have people that go sub-Q and they start feeling fucking tired and shitty and they just feel crazy and they have these side effects that are happening. And then they'll switch back to IM. The first intramuscular injection later that day, they feel back to normal again, So people are just metabolizing testosterone differently, obviously, but generally speaking, intramuscular is a better injection. It's better for uptake, no question. Yeah, better for uptake, no question. Ride the Lightning with a $5 super chat. Thank you, bro. I have lifelong anxiety, mostly in the evenings. TRT did something, but still there. Xanax works, but don't want this stuff. Anything for me? Yeah. Well, I think drop the Xanax and then go through the withdrawal, because that's going to suck, but it has to happen if you're taking it every day at least. And then try to modify your protocol otherwise to make it so that goes away. Thing is, with androgens, in the beginning, if you're not used to high levels of testosterone, it might make you anxious. Alternatively, it could lower your anxiety via some fucking neurotransmitter mechanism. Estradiol can do the same. Estradiol more points toward, or like sort of skews toward, anxiety when it's higher than you're used to, but that will always balance out. And that's probably just a compensatory response from the neurotransmission that it's initially inducing, which then regulates over time. Yeah. But that's what I'd suggest you figure out. Do you need a little higher estradiol? Do you need lower? Or do you need to give it some time? If you're brand new to TRT, you might need to just give it time. Give it time. But the Xanax is never going to help you. It's going to keep you in a mode where you're going to need Xanax again at some point. The moment you get it out and keep it out, that's when you can start to recover. Ever played some Hell Let Loose? No. Is that a video game? Nope. I'm just waiting for the next COD to come out, and apparently it's going to be another Black Ops 6 or Black Ops game, which if it's Treyarch, it's going to fucking suck, just like Black Ops 6 sucks. Fucking nerfing movement and all this shit. That's what I play, though, still. I still play it. I play Modern Warfare 3 because that's a much better game. But that's where we're at. Brother, Oleg, do I have any experience with medium ester testosterone? No, neither of those. Buddy. Crypto Magic, I was thinking to continue with anything until the vial is done. I'm on 75 every fourth day at the moment. Would I benefit from increased dosage, assuming that E2 is high? What was your previous question? Don't seem to be dealing with anything well because you're aromatizing a lot. You have to find out whether you're aromatizing a lot. And again, take a small dose of an AI or DHT derivative. If your dick gets worse, you're not aromatizing a lot. You're not aromatizing enough in that case. Yeah. So you have to find that out first before you change anything. So I would honestly run that experiment. You might fuck things up or feel a little subpar for a couple of days, but you need to know. You need to know. One thing I can say to people that I think is a really important observation I've made is that when men come to me on TRT or otherwise with problems and then they get on TRT, 98% of the time, their assumptions about what's wrong are wrong. So they'll say, look at my estradiol, I need an AI because this thing is happening, but it's actually not estrogen related, it's something else. Or they'll say, my dose of testosterone is too high because this is happening, and really it's caused by something else. So, you really need to know. So most people are just wrong about what they think is going on. So in your case, you need to know, are you over aromatizing? You might be wrong. Most people that come to me and have assumptions about what's happening, they're actually fucking wrong. So looking at that data, you're probably wrong. It's something else that's happening. Maybe you need more HCG. Maybe you need more estradiol. Maybe you need less, but you got to determine that. The only way you can do that is take a low dose of an AI, DHT derivative. If your dick gets worse, then you know that you need more estrogen. But if it gets better, you were over aromatizing. Try to think about it as simply as that. Michael, do you think rapid test sip dosage increases can induce sleep issues? Yeah, 100%. Not staying asleep, waking up ready to go like sex, or ready to go do productivity. It's just want to check my Outlook email inbox and do some work at 3 a.m. The answer is yes, absolutely. Cypionate especially, it increases fucking tests, and it increases estradiol more so, or gives you more of a steady state, which probably equals more genetic expression of estrogen after receptors are bound to than fast acting stuff. So, it's more estrogenic. That's just the bottom line with cypionate. Anything more estrogenic generally, and more steady state estrogen. So that is going to cause this to happen. The other thing that causes this to happen is DHT. Not testosterone. You could have 5,000 tests. It don't matter. It's really about the metabolites in terms of some of these effects. DHT can cause this and estrogen can cause this, and you got to figure out which one it is. But it can absolutely happen. Burn the Breeze with the $10 super chat. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that, man. I've got very high cholesterol on ApoB. Sorry. I just got my labs ran again. They were a little skewed after the cycle. I've got my fucking LDL to 84. My HDL was at 44. It's now 48. 48, man. That's cycling off, getting back down to cream, but also taco trinos, and running. My HDL went up. That doesn't happen, man. I'm really happy about it. But you've got ApoB high, not good. That's one of the predictive markers of cardiac, problems later on down the line, brother. So you've got to get that figured out. Low C reactive and all other markers are good. Is cholesterol a big concern? Absolutely. I wouldn't use a statin if I were you. I would start taking some tocotrienols daily. In fact, I believe one of the mechanisms by which they lower ApoB and bad cholesterol is pretty similar to a statin. It's in fact the same mechanism, but just not as powerful. I'm pretty sure it's the tocotrienols that do that. But just because you have low reactive C-reactive protein and like other blood markers that are fine does not mean you're okay. High cholesterol, especially high apolipoprotein B, is not good. High ApoB is now one of the more accurate predictors of future cardiac problems. So get it the fuck down and don't listen to anyone else that tells you, cholesterol is fine. Like, no. Get that down. Get that down. Get it down, brother. Start doing cardio. Yep. If you smoke cigarettes, fucking stop. If you drink a lot of alcohol, cut it down. Eat a little less meat. Take some tocotrienols. Yeah. Yep. And if you're on too high a dose of androgens, that's going to skew your lipids as well. Maybe drop the dose a little bit. Dream big. Want to run modafinil for years to build a business. What's the best way to do that? Find your dose. Find your daily dose, because that stuff's pretty innocuous. Yeah. Too much of it, you'll have like facial twitching, dyskinesias. But like you have to reach a pretty high dose and take it a lot to do that. So innocuous, largely, generally speaking. Find your dose, man. If it's 50 milligrams a day, great. That's even more sustainable. I'm at 75 if I'm going to dose it consistently. That's just where I am. And I feel fucking phenomenal taking that shit. Yeah, phenomenal. I haven't taken it in, I don't know, man, 6 months or something. I haven't taken it because I have this. This stuff here, and in addition to like my TRT protocol, a Red Bull every now and then because they actually taste great. That's it. Most people just need their hormones to be straight, but like something like Torque would be wonderful. But modafinil at your dose, though, figure that out. Can HCG nasal spray work? I don't think so. I don't. Reconstituting the peptide, look, there's like olfactory epithelium that will absorb medications, but I don't know to the extent to which HCG would be absorbable that way. Yeah. I like fast gameplay, absolutely. Modern Warfare 3 was much faster paced. The movement was smoother and better. You could somewhat B-hop. Ultimately, Modern Warfare 2019 was where we had no input lag. When you press buttons on a controller, man, controller or keyboard and mouse, I play both actually. But when you're jumping, B-hopping, instantly responsive. This is Scuff Impact, custom Scuff Impact. This thing's fucking sick. 0 fucking millisecond latency with a program that I used to get it down. But Modern Warfare 2019, you had great movement and no input lag. Modern Warfare 3 movement was subpar, but better than Modern Warfare 2 and better than Black Ops 6. Still a little input lag. It's okay. BO6 sucks. Have you had any anger issues with TRT? I've had a lower dose because people are stupid. I'd say generally speaking, since I've been an adult, like I get fed up with dumb drivers, but I think that's common. I certainly will get fed up these days rather than like cursing at them in my car and being like, you fucking dummy. I'll just be like, you're a fucking dummy. And I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to try to get away from them. I have a 7 Series BMW with a crazy engine and a lot of horsepower. So I will just get the fuck out of there, man. Get the fuck away from dumb people. Otherwise, I think I've always had high standards, and Listen, I came from nothing. Absolutely nothing. I came from an alcoholic dad who died from it when I was 15, an alcoholic mom who, means well, but our relationship is shit because of it. Family members, some of them the same. A handful of them are doing well and are good family members. I came from a fucking hard life and with no money, and I made myself into a successful person. And I'm not particularly fucking special. I had to work for it. I don't think I'm built genetically to where like I'm some Einstein. I had to fucking work for it every day for the last decade and a half, 2 decades since I joined the military. So, in that sense, I don't have a whole lot of empathy for people who don't fucking try. So people like that piss me off. People that don't want to apply themselves and try to figure out how to function well in life and do well, get under my skin a little bit. Yeah. People, and a lot of this has to do with physiology. Like, you can't be your best self unless you fucking feel great. People just want to leave it up to their doctors. That's a bad idea. That's you being intellectually lazy. Figure out your body, man. Figure out your body. I always thought about that as a younger dude. Like, yeah, it's a little daunting. You kind of have to know what an MD knows. You have to know a lot about what an MD knows. You should take the time to do that, though. Anyway, that was a tangent, and yes, people that are just fucking shitheads in life certainly piss me off, because I came from nothing and became something, and anyone can do that too. I'm telling you, I'm not special. Farmer Rick, I'd love to incorporate morning doses of cream, but us bros in Canada have very little resources than online clinic for about $1,200 a year. That's a lot of money. Well, that's not a ton of money, actually. But yeah, I mean, just do what you have to do is what I would suggest you do. If you want cream and you want to try it, do it. Unfortunately, you can't get cream anywhere other than a compounding pharmacy. It's not on Source List. That's the only thing you can't get on Source List. You can get every fucking other thing under the sun on Source List. Our list of anabolics, etc., that are vetted. But no one makes cream. No one makes them except the compounding pharmacies make them. Now, you could get your own test powder and make your own test cream with DMSO and some other things that you would have to ask Chat GPT to help you to figure out the concentrations of, but they don't have cream otherwise. So if you can't get it, if you don't want to do that, get it through your clinic, bro. Pay the money. Like, you can't put a price on your well-being and your sexual function. You can't put a price on that. Like dude, I'm 41 in 2 months, a month. Yeah, literally a month. The way I feel now at 41, compared to when I was 26, I feel 23, dude. I feel young and healthy and strong. My brain is strong. My body's strong. Hormones, hormones, diet, sleep, etc. But hormones change your life, man. Change your life. You're welcome, brother. Modern Warfare 2009. Oh, Modern Warfare 2 2009. I think I played it, but I don't remember it. We've gone over this above. I think it's inconsequential largely. It'll lower SHBG. That's pretty much it. Air Dolphin, that's why you're relatable. All the bullshit you've been through. Thank you, brother. Yeah, definitely, man. I drive a BMW, but I use my fucking turn signal, dude. I was going to this like Cheersy bar in Pittsburgh I was going like every other day just to have a drink, and I met everybody there, and they were all really nice people. I thought it was this grungy, fucked up dive bar, and everyone was going to be like losers. And I went in there, and they were all really nice people. Some of them were losers, but they were nice, cool people. And I would leave there, and you're leaving, kind of heading onto like somewhat of a major street. And of course, I used my fucking turn signal, and I would go back. Like, I went back the next day or something, and they're like, this guy Dennis, who's this is a funny motherfucker. He's like, dude, I saw you leaving yesterday, and then I realized like how much of a fucking anomaly you are because in your BMW you use the turn signal. Yeah, man. I'm humble. I don't, unless people deserve to be treated poorly because they're treating you poorly, which you have 2 options: either walk away or fucking get them back. Then I like to treat people well. But I'm a BMW driver that uses my fucking turn signal. Because why be an asshole like that? Well, I hate that. I'm driving on the highway and I see some guy just change his lane to no turn signal. Like, just fuck all of us. Fuck all of us, I guess, right? You're just going to change lanes. You're not going to tell anyone behind you because you just don't have to. Fuck you. Follow the fucking rules, bro. You dunce. Tavis, if adding Masteron Drostanolone to TRT based on test prop, would it make more sense to use Masteron prop as well? Wait, Drostanolone, dude, is Drostanolone the same thing as Masteron? Pretty sure it is, right? If not, I don't remember what Drostanolone is. Yeah. But if you're asking proper enanthate, you should just use prop. Yeah. You should use Masteron prop because then you could dial it in quicker. That's just the bottom line, especially if you're running prop. Now, if you're running testosterone enanthate, then enanthate might work or might be better. The more you can get a short acting something, the easier it's going to be to dial in, or the shorter the time it should take to dial in, because you know what the results of your dose is in a day, 2 days kind of thing. So that's what I'd suggest you do. Brother Fabio. Hey, Fabio's here. Actual Fabio is here, dude. You guys remember Fabio? What do I think about HRT, but replacing testosterone with Primo and adding estradiol cypionate at a desired dose? This is a good fucking question, boys. I think you'd only want to do this if you can't dial in otherwise. Yeah. Yeah, because, you over or under aromatize and you can't get that straight. Yep. But, dude, rare cases. But I've seen this to be the case, too. There's a YouTuber who's done content on this, but it was, it was Trenbolone plus estradiol, right? Because Tren doesn't aromatize. So it's just you have a non-aromatizable androgen, and then you find your dose of estradiol by using exogenous estradiol. The reason this works for people is because they can't dial in any other way, because they metabolize testosterone abnormally. Meaning, the metabolites don't end up in the libido favorable range for them. So they have to manipulate it with AIs or do whatever, right? Whereas if they just take a non-aromatizable androgen and they control the estradiol perfectly by taking exogenous estradiol, they're not getting any aromatization from their androgen. None. So they'd be bottomed down on estrogen otherwise. Unless you're taking HCG and you make some. But then they're getting to the level of estrogen that they need just by using exogenous estradiol. So this is a great idea for people who are having a difficult time dialing in. Just find a non-aromatizable androgen that you like and then take estrogen. Like if Proviron didn't nuke my hair more than any androgen that I've ever tried, I would probably just run Proviron year round at 50 milligrams a day. And then just take a little bit of estrogen, estradiol enanthate, and I would dial in that way. But Proviron, I'm not very anabolic on Proviron. I'd be very lean and vascular, but not very anabolic, so it wouldn't work. But Primo, in this case, you'd be pretty anabolic. It's pretty fucking awesome. But it's just going to lower your estrogen further, the estrogen that you won't even really have anyway, because you don't have a test base. So I don't know if that's consequential or not. Just keep that in mind. But Primo is an anabolic, non-aromatizable androgen. So that's pretty safe. So that's pretty fucking awesome. If you did just that and forget about its estrogen reducing properties because you're going to be injecting estradiol and you ran exogenous estradiol, I bet you could dial in much better than people on TRT that are having problems. Because you can control everything there. You can control everything. I might do something like that at some point to try it, like just to experiment. Again, there was a YouTuber, I forget his name, who did that with Tren. It was just Tren and estradiol. And he's like, libido's the best it's ever been because I can keep it exactly where I want it. I can keep my numbers just where I need them to be. Yeah. If there was a better non-aromatizable androgen, which there isn't, because fucking Deca increases fucking prolactin. Like it's doing something probably with hypothalamic dopamine inhibition. That'd be the mechanism by which it increases prolactin, or it's some other mechanism, but it does increase prolactin or can. So Deca's not it. There is no ideal non-aromatizable androgen. You just stick with Primo or Proviron and just deal with the side effects, hair loss or not anabolism in the case of Proviron, with Primobolan. Maybe some hair loss, but maybe not. Totally doable though, bro. Master RC with the $5 super chat. Morning. How does how soon does HCG start to aromatize? I think that the Leydig cells, what the literature says is that the Leydig cells produce aromatase in response to HCG independent of testosterone. So it's not just your test in the testicles that's converting to estradiol. It's you're making estradiol just by injecting HCG, period. So just something to keep in mind for folks. So I think immediately. I would say immediately. Yeah. And if you're on testosterone, your numbers are probably going to go up 20 picograms per milliliter, 15 to 30, let's call it. Yeah, mine went from 35 to 55. Same dose of testosterone, actually lower dose of testosterone from 210 to 168. And I added 250 IU of HCG every day. And that E2 went from 35 to 55. 20 fucking points, man. 20 fucking points. Mr. M, Ryan, I'm doing a 300 milligram test E cycle. Cool. Good luck, bro. Pinning 50 milligrams every day. Yep, great. I am using a 30 gauge half inch on my thigh. Half inch needle. That's not IM. Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to get that into the muscle. You're likely doing extremely shallow, which is not the same as deep intramuscular, or you're doing sub-Q. On 250 IU HCG every other day, and take a milligram of Arimidex on HCG injection days and 0.5 on regular days. Okay. Are you feeling okay on that? I would imagine you're an over aromatizer if you need that much Arimidex. But some people are like that. If you are, then yeah, cool. Good luck. You're going to have to figure that out, though. If I was on 300 a test E and taking that much Arimidex, my estrogen would be bottomed out still. Yeah. I respond very, very, very rapidly or favorably, you would call it, to Arimidex, to any aromatase inhibitor. And this shit just takes my shit down instantly. Instantly, man. So my guess is that would be too much Arimidex, but time will tell. Time will tell. You start having joint pain and feeling lethargic and your dick stops working and you start feeling dark and depressed. Your estrogen's too low. Go get a blood test. Farmer Rick, which DHT product would I suggest to get the old boys back? I'm not sure what you mean there. Thank you for the super chat, though, brother. Yeah, DHT product likely wouldn't do that. DHT itself may, through a backdoor pathway, as I've covered on content before, enhance testicular function. It certainly does enhance ejaculate volume. But quite honestly, your best bet, meaning tried and true, would just be HCG. Just be HCG. Yeah. Matt, test dose is 100 milligrams a week, but want to try 150, but I'm not sure if C-reactive protein will rise because of testosterone. It may or may not. You're going to have to test that. You seem to be on the C-reactive protein thing. If you want like some comprehensive answer and, super chat it, brother. Easy with a $10 super chat. Is that what we got? Did you have a question, bro? Otherwise, thank you so much for the super chat. Brother, this is your first super chat on the live stream, Easy. Thank you for that, man. It means a lot, dude. It means a lot, bro. Big Zach says I should play Apex Legends. I looked at it. I'm honestly really into COD-style shooters. If only Call of Duty was like it was in 2019. Or I guess it could be okay if it was like Modern Warfare 3. But that's still subpar. I just, word is, though, like some important COD person is now at Battlefield and is helping them for Battlefield, I think 2026 is launching in a year or whatever that is. Can't wait. I like Battlefield. It's okay. Like I'll play it for an hour, then I'm sick of it. But if it got substantially better, much more toward like, call it Modern Warfare 2019 era COD, it would be the COD killer. It would be the COD killer. Yeah, they don't have fucking server problems. You don't lag out in the middle of a game. You don't have, twitches and staggering of your screen or whatever that's fucking called, where your shit just kind of, you're having high tick problems. You don't have that with Battlefield. It'd be great. Yeah, I was trying to find a place that I really liked. I ended up in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I rented an Airbnb in New York when I left my ex-girlfriend, me and my cat, and a little bit of my shit. We went to an Airbnb in New York, and I rented it for a month. And I'm like, I'm going to sit here for 30 fucking days, and I'm going to think about what I'm going to do after, I had to end that relationship. I'm going to think about what I'm going to do. And Pittsburgh was it, bro. Pittsburgh was it. After 3 weeks, I'm like, that's it. Maybe 2.5. I found the place that I have now still. I'm like, I'm going to go there. If I don't like it, I can leave in a year, move to Florida. Turns out I really like this city. Nosy Blacklight was injecting Primo Sub Q with test prop every other day, 42 control in a 1-to-1 ratio. Interesting. And was good. Okay. So then you over aromatize for sure. I switched Primo to 2x weekly and injected intramuscular. Now I have low E2 symptoms. Interesting. Yeah, because if you're doing it 2x weekly, then you increase your dose at a time. So there's more, it's a big long name, but Primobolan metabolizes into this metabolite which blocks aromatase. Yeah, my thoughts are go back to what worked. That'd be my thoughts. Crypto Magic with the $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man. Easy with another super chat. Do you have a question, bro? If not, thank you for the super chat, bro. Jared says Dr. Todd Lee. I don't know who that is, by the way. I mean, I may have seen videos. Maybe you can point him out to me or give some context. Says you should only take enough tests to bring up E2 to maximize the conversion of GF to IGF-1. And if you need higher androgen load, add high dose Masteron or Primo. Does this apply to TRT? No. E2 to maximize it. No, that's bad advice. You should only take enough tests to bring your E2 to maximize the conversion of growth factor to IGF-1. No, that's stupid. People might need a fucking 1,700 nanograms per deciliter total test to get enough free tests to have symptom resolution. I don't know. If I'm understanding this correctly, no, that's a stupid idea. Joe, what's the single best nootropic or supplement regimen for depression and anxiety? You don't want to treat it with nootropics. Stop thinking so simply. Get your hormones straight, and then when you're straight on hormones and sleep and lifestyle, then you can think about bringing nootropics in. That's not the way that's one of the reasons I got out of talking about nootropics, because people have all these fucking physiologic issues, largely hormone problems and otherwise issues. And they're like, what nootropic can I take to band-aid this? And I'll intellectually be lazy and not try to fix it. Get the fuck out of here. Fix your fucking problem. Fix your fucking problem. You have depression or anxiety? Welcome to life. Welcome to life. Welcome to life. Fix it. Fix it. It's not something you're going to have to live with for the rest of your fucking life. Fix it. Fix your goddamn hormones. Fix your body. If you have to get on exogenous hormones, do it. Be resourceful. Find a fucking way. We've all been depressed before, Bo. All of us. And then you get out of it. You figure out how to get out of it. Some people don't because they can't figure it out. You can figure it out. The clinic, I get cream from Defy, but these days they're not getting it from Empower. I don't know what Empower is doing. There's some weird thing happening with Empower, and it's coming from a pharmacy called Hollandale. And no, that's not, because that's regular TRT. That's prescribed, so that's not a source question. Aspirin is not really an aromatase inhibitor. Ways to grow the testes from PFS recovery aside from HCG. You might look at exogenous DHT, but I still think you're going to need some HCG. You could also use human menopausal gonadotropin, HMG, or you could use recombinant FSH, both of which are very expensive. Fabio. It's not my idea. Yesterday I listened to Ryan Root's podcast where Austin Oral explains this protocol, where he has done for which protocol? Are you talking about the only taking enough tests to reach the level of IGF-1 that you need? It's just people have some wacky ideas out there, bro. It's extremely non-nuanced too. Tanner Wolf, on HCG monotherapy, currently trying to get my wife prego. Thoughts on adding Proviron? In the context of using HCG, I think it would be fine. Proviron is... I think what Proviron does in terms of intertesticular function is it either mimics LH somewhat, or or something like it. We know it optimizes seminal fluid and seminal like ejaculate volume via seminal vesicle optimization, and it can be used for fertility. In the context of not being on TRT or not being on HCG, it can eventually shut you down. But it takes a lot of it, I think, and consistently for that to do that. So I don't think it would. I think it might be neutral. But you would want to check. You'd really want, if you want to run it, make sure you test all fertility markers. I'm not very familiar with all the fertility markers, frankly. But test all those first. Make sure, get a baseline for where they are, and then take Proviron and see if any of them changed. See if it got worse or if the situation got better. That'd be my suggestion to you, brother. Tavis, if prolactin is at the top of the normal range, pushing fucking sketchy territory there, brother. Will there be any advantage to try to lower it? Fuck yeah, there would be. First of all, you'll have decreased refractory period. So, after sex, you'll be able to have sex again in 30 minutes. Yeah. I'm at the point right now, my prolactin's below 8. And 30 minutes later, I'm ready to go again. And frankly, like I might lose erection for a little bit after ejaculating, but it's like ready to go, and sometimes spontaneously back after sex when my prolactin's pretty low. But everything else is really good as well on the protocol. So yeah, you don't want it even close to the top. Yeah, I think guys don't want it above 10, frankly. 13 is okay, but you start getting 15. Well, guess what? 3 more nanograms per milliliter, you're at 18, and that's like basically top of the range. 20 is, but that's at the top. Get it below 13. Do that as quick as you can. Take some P5P, and that'll probably work. Add some vitamin E with the P5P if P5P alone doesn't do it. I don't think Clomid increases dopamine. No, I don't think there's a mechanism. Maybe marginally via the testosterone increase, but I think Clomid's a very dirty drug, if you ask me. You don't want to be blocking estrogen receptors. You don't want to do that, dude. I don't think. Unless you need it. Unless you're just PCTing. You're PCTing and you want to get your function back, then do it. But, I wouldn't want a PCT. That's for sure. Not a whole lot of thoughts on Testosterone. I have a couple clients that have used it over the years. It's kind of hard to dial in, but some people swear by it. Best time to take a Arimidex after injecting test prop would be that day. Yep. A couple hours later, give estrogen time to come up a little bit and then take your Arimidex. Go from there. If you've determined you need estrogen control on TRT. Easy with another $10 super chat. Thank you, bro. I think now you've done a couple super chats, so I appreciate that, bro. Thought of a question. Do you know a protocol for GnRH instead of HCG? Well, yeah. The problem is like you have gonadorelin, which effectively is GnRH, but gonadorelin, you need to take it in more of a pulsed manner in order for it to be continually effective, because although it has a short half-life, and although that short half-life does have a prolonged effect at the testes, it's still very short. It's still nothing compared to HCG. Additionally, though, gonadorelin can increase prolactin via a pituitary-dependent mechanism. I don't remember what it is, but it has done that in a couple clients where their prolactin went above range. And they're like, the gonadorelin made me impotent. What the fuck? And we look at prolactin, it's like 24. Then I, read a paper on it, and like in one person, it spontaneously created a fucking tumor. That's very rare, but those are the problems you run into. Otherwise, there's kisspeptin, which is probably better. Still might raise prolactin via a pituitary-dependent mechanism. But kisspeptin is cooler. When I took kisspeptin for about a month, I was running, 170 micrograms twice a day. I want to say it was sub-Q. I had an erection all day. I don't know what that was. Was it that I stopped HCG and estrogen was like perfect? Well, it could have played into it, but it was something more than that. For hypoactive sexual disorder, kisspeptin 30, I believe, is studied for that and very effective. So, there's a lot of neuronal shit that kisspeptin does that's very pro the sexual system. I just a walking hard on with that stuff. More so than a dialed-in protocol on TRT. It was crazy. But it raised my prolactin a little bit too. So, and ultimately testicle shrank, and it wasn't great for me personally. So, modafinil, hard to say because it does inhibit the reuptake of dopamine. So that might do that. But then you deplete some dopamine as well, because if you're not renewing it, you're keeping all this dopamine around. But if you can't replenish it, I think that's a problem too. That's why people get problems on Adderall. Maddie says, morning, brother. Tried P5P spread out like throughout the day. Still made me anxious and feel off. Any other ways to lower prolactin? Yeah, 3 to 5 grams of Shisandra a day. Vitamin E, just vitamin E tablets. Find your dose it, or they're gel tabs a day. Find your dose, and that will lower your prolactin. Otherwise, just get your hands on some 0.5 milligram tablets of cabergoline and use a pill cutter to split it in half and do 0.25 once a week. I mean, if your prolactin's at 24, 0.25 one time is going to take it to like 15, maybe even 10. Yeah, you dose it twice and forget it. You'll be sub 10 and you'll be good to go. If you have depression and anxiety and your mood gets better after eating boiled eggs, you're just probably responding acutely to the increased acetylcholine, which is making your brain fire a little better. That's all that is. Eggs aren't the solution, nor is acetylcholine the solution, but hormones especially, man. You get on, if you have anxiety and depression and you get on injectable testosterone, I bet it'll go away. Tavis, thank you for this super chat, bro. Have I ever tried a mitochondrial optimization protocol with MOTS-C, NAD? No. Yeah, I have a lot of experience running. Oh, N-acetylcysteine. I don't know what NAD is. Nope. I don't. Look, Steve says it's almost definitely not snake oil. Yeah. People overuse that phrase. No one's selling snake oil. Ugh. I mean, there might be a few fucking weirdos out there, but no way. That guy is a scientific thinker, man. That, if Steve says something, chances are what he's literally referencing from a scientific paper from his head at the moment that he read, or he did that to put together a protocol that he ran consistently or had more than himself run. And then he has information from it. He's putting that all together and giving a suggestion. That dude is fucking smart, man. Fucking smart. You're welcome, brother. This is a good question. We'll end here. How long can you run Cabergoline before it causes cardiac fibrosis? Yeah, you're probably looking at 2 to 3 years at above 1 milligram a day. I mean, above 1 milligram a week, which you wouldn't want to do or even get close to when you're trying to reduce prolactin if it's not a pituitary adenoma. Yeah. All people that have prolactinomas, they're pushing that territory of thickening mitral valves and upregulating basically blocking antifibrotic stuff. Yeah, which happens via the serotonin 5-HT2B receptor. I think agonism of that receptor. That's why that happens. Yeah. If you're really, so that wouldn't happen for like 2 years and 2 years, 2 to 3 years of running a fucking milligram, 1.5 milligrams a week, call it. That's really what you're looking at. That's what the literature suggests. But the literature also suggests that outcome is reversible when people stop taking it. And it's one of the only kind of, mitral valve abnormalities that is reversible, like when you just stop taking the drug. Typically that's not reversible, but somehow, the changes in the valves, particularly the mitral valve, and potential mild regurgitation go away when you stop taking it. That's something that is in the literature as well. But it happens to a much lesser extent and in most cases not at all with bromocriptine. It still can happen with bromocriptine. It's usually high doses cumulatively over time, and you're a lot less likely to have that problem. So that's what I'd say. All right, boys, I'm going to end the stream. Great fucking questions. We'll chat again this week. Monday, we'll do some more content, so look forward to that. Sub to the channel if you're new here. If you happen to randomly find this, like the video, makes a huge difference for the algorithm. There's 20% discounts on everything right now. The code is in the description. So the code that you'll see that takes 20% off the source list as well as Torque also applies to coaching. Okay, so for those of you thinking of doing a 3-month or a 6-month, you can save 20% right now on that ticket item, which is a pretty hefty ticket item. You're going to save a lot of money, a lot of actual dollars on that. So go book livecortex.com, go get some product. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's snowing here, go figure. So I'm going to just enjoy the snow day and chill, and probably won't do a whole lot today. I'll see you guys Monday for content. Fucking rock on. All right. See you later. Bye-bye. Kick ass, boys. Later.